Hey Peculiars, I am Amanda, the Peculiar Brunette, and today we are talking about Ohms. So if it's your first time here, I talk about nature spirituality, which is like moon magic, celebrating the seasons, spiritual journaling, and other occult topics. And then we also talk about intentional living, so like living life on purpose. So if you're interested, make sure and subscribe so you can stay updated. You can also join other Peculiars on Facebook here. And if you want to stay updated on things that I talk about here on the YouTube channel and also on the blog, you can subscribe to the Magical Monday newsletter. I'll have all those linked down below. Today with Ohms, I'm going to be talking about the original 20, which are the Theta. But in my blog post, I'm going to talk about all 25, which include the 4 Theta. So if you're wanting to know more about that, I will also link that blog post down below so you can read about that there. And you can also download a PDF that has everything in that as well. All right, let's get started. So today is going to be an overview for beginners. There are a lot of people much more knowledgeable on this subject than I am, so I will make sure and link down some sources for you down below. I'm going to start out by answering some overview of like frequently asked questions, and then I'm going to make my own set of staves, and I will show you each symbol and what that means. Each Ohm symbol derives the same from Celtic mythology and metaphorical tree meanings. Each one has a tree associated with it, and they're full of magic and different symbolisms. While many people use it for a divination system, many historians believe that that was not how they were originally used. They were used as like an alphabet. They were used to mark graves. They were used to mark the edges of borders, and sometimes they were carved into trees for other magical purposes, or to celebrate their ancestors, or to worship their gods or deities. Now, even though their original intention wasn't for divination purposes, each one is full of different magic and symbolism and can be useful as a divination system. So many people still choose to incorporate that into their spiritual practice. Okay, so I'm going to go through the questions that I'm frequently asked about it. So how do you pronounce Ohm? So there's 2 different ways I've heard them pronounced. So Ohm, like O-H-M, Ohm, or I've also heard it pronounced Ogham, like O-H-A-M, Ogham. And then I also get asked frequently, like, why is it spelled with the GH and why is it just spelled O-G-A-M? So in modern Irish, they spell it with the GH, and like old Irish just spelt it with the G. So really on your preference on how you want to spell it, either way is technically correct. Everything that I did it in the more modern Irish with the GH. Okay, so another question is, are ohms, so ohms are sometimes called runes or ohm runes, and so a lot of people want to know if they're the same as the Elder Futhark runes. No, although there are a lot of interesting similarities between them, like the gods that created them, like Elder Futhark runes was Odin, and it's like a god of wisdom, and similar with the ohms. Also, another thing that's kind of interesting is the English word rune is from the Norse word runa, which means secret or mystery. And then the Irish word for rune also means secret or mystery, which is kind of interesting. And it's also believed that the Celtic Ohms and the Elder Futhark runes were used around the same time period, but there's no connection to them. They're not the same. They're totally different systems. So I thought that was kind of interesting though. I actually did a really detailed video about Elder Futhark runes, so if you're interested in knowing more about those, I'll put a link down below for that as well. Ogham history and folklore. So the Ohms, everything that we know about the Ohms have been pieced together by different historical writings throughout the years. It's believed, legend states, that Aicme, the sun-faced god, created the Ohms but there isn't like with the runes where Odin gave up something or sacrificed something in order to gain this knowledge. There's no story like that, or really any other additional details as far as how Ogma came about this knowledge or shared it or anything like that. Ogma is the god of wisdom and education. So the Ohms are believed to have Latin origins, and there's nothing really stating that there was any, there's no proof of the Ohms being created prior to the Roman era, and it's believed to have Latin origins just because of the structure and the sounds and the vowels. They're all relating to Latin versus like Gaelic that has 10 vowels. So it's believed to really have Latin origins. So one of the things that made Ohms more popular in the present day is Robert Graves. In 1940, he published a book called The White Goddess. He is the grandson of the Ogham scholar Charles Graves. And while Robert Graves' book is quite beautiful and kind of poetic, he kind of takes his own spin on it. He kind of embellishes certain parts, and it's not totally historically accurate. And so while this can still have a really strong spiritual meaning for you while you work with the Ohms, it's important to make sure that those aren't historically accurate. And like I said, you can totally do whatever you want with your spiritual meaning. I think it's important to work with your intuition while you're using the Ohms. But I also think it's important to stick to what is historically accurate just so that you know, and then you can go from there. How to read and use Ogham symbols. So the Ohms started out as 20 original symbols called the Feta, which means tree or wood, and they were broken up into 4 different categories called the Aicme, which basically the reason they were broken up into those symbols is because I'll show you some examples here in a second, but they've got the lines, they kind of almost look like tree branches that come off of them, and each group has them on the same side. So this one will have 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, yada yada. These strokes are basically called fleishk, and that's how you can separate all of them. So, and then there are additional 5 letters that were added later, and those were the 4 Feta. I was unable to determine a time period as to how much later that those were added, but basically they were added to make them more similar to Latins because it was missing certain letters or vowels and it wanted to align more with like the Latin alphabet. But basically they were, you can kind of tell when you look at them that they're a little bit more difficult to carve. They're not as simple as the first original 20. And a lot of people choose not to even work with them at all because they were added later. But some people choose to incorporate them into their spiritual practice because they have, they say that it adds more value to it. When you read Ohms, you read them bottom to top, like you would climb a tree. And then later, if they're ever written in like a manuscript type, then there would be left to right. What are Ogham staves and how to use Ohms for divination? So basically what this is they're basically wooden sticks that they take and they will carve the Ogham symbols onto it. So this one I just drew on with pencil, but I'm gonna wood burn them here in just a second when I go over each one. I'll show you here too how I made my set, but you can keep this as simple as you want. I've seen some people get like popsicle sticks and draw them on there. I've seen some people actually do cards, almost like a tarot system. And sometimes too, if you see there at the bottom, I'll show you this more in a second, I guess, because if it doesn't look in focus, but at the very bottom, I've got a little tail on it, and that marking at the bottom, that like upside down V, basically shows that this is the end of it. So, if you toss them, because sometimes they can look similar depending on the actual Ogham, but this will tell you which one's right side up and which one's reversed. So another thing with the divination, it depends on who you talk to on whether or not you use an upright meaning versus a reversed meaning. Some people believe that each Ogham symbol has a symbol or has a spiritual meaning regardless of if it's reversed or not. And there's some people that choose to have the reverse meaning and think that it provides them more clarity to each situation. So when I go through and I talk about each one, I do include the reverse meaning as well, but you can choose to not work with that if that's your preference as well. Just a note there. All right, let's make some Ogham staves and we'll discuss each Ogham symbol meaning. First, I've got to find a branch. I've seen some beautiful sets made with each corresponding tree, but I am definitely too impatient for that. However, I will take a quick break by the lake. I may have gotten carried away with sticks. You doing good? Oh, okay. Oh my goodness, that's disgusting. I don't know if this is the best idea. Babe, I don't like this saw thing. Do you have another option?
Try it.
Okay, round 2. We're trying these. Ooh, I don't like that. It's like, I can't.
Should I get the bigger one?
Yeah, get the bigger ones. I hate it. Round 3. Yeah. All right, I got 20 sticks, and look at this last one. That's cool. I just think that's cool. Okay, now I'm gonna go over each Ogham symbol as I would burn it. Okay, so first we have Be, and its tree association is birch. And it is most associated with joyful beginnings, like childbirth, relationships, a new phase in life, a new job, or like creativity and cleansing. Remember that change can sometimes be uncomfortable and challenging, and now is an excellent time to start preparing and laying the groundwork for transformations ahead. Birch trees were frequently used for love magic. For this reason, birch trees were used to make maypoles that symbolize renewal and fertility, and it was also used in Ireland and Scotland to create a crib and was believed to provide safety to newborns. If reversed, it means stagnant and stale energy. You're stuck in the past and need to let go of negative thoughts so you can move forward. Fresh beginnings are overcoming challenging moments or cleansing energies, body, or space. Try inscribing on a broom handle to sweep away negative energy and make way for new intentions. The next Ogham symbol is Louis or Luce, representative of the rowan tree. Its meaning is defense, herbalism, control of one's actions, or in defense of animals, particularly cattle, growth, and fresh ideas. It can also symbolize a threat to your prosperity, joy, or physical and mental wellness. When Luce appears during divination, it can indicate a sudden burst of creativity or inspiration. It may also be a sign of comfort that you are being taken care of and have what it takes to conquer any challenge presented to you. Due to rowan's defense and protection symbolism, it was frequently planted at sacred locations. Rowan was believed to be protected by dragons and snakes. If reversed, you may be vulnerable or susceptible to negative intentions. This means you need to be cautious and take proper measures to circumvent any possible threats. For inscription and magical uses, wear an amulet with this symbol for protection and safety. You could also place it on your front door with a wreath. Symbolize your ancestors or departed loved ones to allow them to aid in your protection. The third Ogham is Fairn, which represents the alder tree, and it means spiritual guidance, creativity, choices, emotional security, and safeguarding yourself against harm. Be open to advice from an elder or someone whose opinions you deeply value. Remember to also follow your gut instinct and listen to your intuition. Now is an excellent time to gather knowledge and information to make the best decisions possible going forward. Alder is water resistant and was often used to make buckets for milking. The receptacle holding milk corresponded with the Celtic myth of magical cauldrons and cup of inspiration, including the Holy Grail. For magical uses, it's helpful when feeling emotionally overwhelmed. Used to connect and converse with the universe, ether, or otherworld. Inscribe on a charm to help attract prophetic dreams and good counsel. Carve into a candle when working with spirit guides. The reversed meaning is stubbornness. You may be disregarding good advice. This can also symbolize that you have hit a creative wall. Try relaxing and looking at things from another viewpoint. Next, we have Salya or Sal, and which represents the willow tree and means balance, intuition, and closely connected with the moon cycles, including perfect timing, astrologically speaking, sentimental feelings, the flow of water, and tides. Willow trees, which are often found near water and the moon, are closely linked due to their connection with water. Salya is also associated with divination and intuition. Keeping your connection to yourself open and healthy is an empowering trait and very valued. Willow was often used as a witching rod to locate water and also for basket weaving due to its flexibility. 4,000 years ago, Sumerians used willow bark for pain relief, as did other ancient civilizations. Hippocrates recommended chewing on willow bark or brewing it for tea to treat fevers and to relieve women's pain during birth. During the 19th century, scientists found out willow tree contained salicylic acid, which is used in aspirin today. Wonderful for moon water, moon magic, cyclical intentions, or working with the element water. Allow the flexibility of the willow tree to influence your spiritual life. Let yourself be a bit more fluid and keep yourself and intuition open. If reversed, you're feeling defeated, distracted, or lost. Use your knowledge and intuition to guide yourself back to alignment. Last in this set is Nyan, which is associated with the ash tree and means transitions, renewal, the strength of women, growth, peace, supportive friendships, and fate. Struggle and challenges are a natural part of life and are imperative when evolving or growing, and it's essential to accept this truth. Nyan symbolizes the coming together of friends, family, and communities for a positive purpose. Ash is also representative of fate, but this does not mean you are bound to a particular course, but indicates a unique path that is specific to you. Boundaries are not a disadvantage because they can help make us aware of connections, links, and develop creative solutions. Create the life you most desire with zeal and confidence. Wonderful for manifesting your desires and intentions. Use for help with imagination, creativity, new perspectives, and spiritual and emotional healing. If reversed, there is a need for assertiveness and control of your life. If you find yourself suffering, locate the root of the problem. It might be a good time for shadow work. Consider delaying any action so you have time to contemplate and potentially change your perspective entirely. Next we have Ua, which represents the hawthorn tree, and it means barriers, despair, protection, loneliness, strife, or feeling suffocated. Don't avoid problems or issues in your life. You may be experiencing setbacks or misfortune, but it will eventually pass. Remember, good times and difficult times are a natural part of life. Now is not the time for aggressive reactions. Be patient. Look for solutions while remaining humble and open to new possibilities without dismissing your original intention or goals. In Irish mythology, the hawthorn is a fairy tree that acts as a barrier, allowing only those to pass who are deemed worthy. Since the hawthorn blooms in May, a wreath of its leaves were often placed atop the maypole, and its flowers were brought into the home at Beltane for good luck. However, superstitious belief indicated that bringing hawthorn blossoms into your home would also invite disease and bad luck during any other time of year. Used to help clear your thoughts of negativity and open your intuition and insight. Hua offers patience, wisdom, and empathy to your spirituality. If reversed, you've come to an impasse or standstill. If you continue to be forceful and aggressive, it will lead to embarrassment or misery. Next, we have Dur or Dar, which is associated with the oak tree, meaning strength, security, resilience, endurance, wisdom, sacred spaces, leadership, and kindness. All your hard work and education have paid off. Like the oak, you stand tall and mighty. You are in a beneficial situation, and this circumstance will stay that way for quite a while. Trust yourself. Also, oak represents the intense energy and power of storms and wind, symbolic of the endurance and stamina you possess that allows you to flourish and thrive. Oak trees are considered sacred guardians. They are an excellent place to meditate beneath or seek strength and assurance. If you catch an oak leaf before it touches the ground, you will have excellent health throughout the cold winter months. Representative of the Oak King, who marks the beginning and climax of the summer solstice. Inscribe this ogham on an acorn for good luck in job interviews, for courage, or pursuing justice. Dur is an excellent ogham inscription to keep at work, helpful when working with storms, lightning, or the element air. It can also be used in healing or for those who need a little reminder of their resilience, profound strength, and tenacity. Reversed represents cowardly, uncertain, or frail. You have not been acting kindly or fairly in your leadership role. It's okay to lack knowledge and facts, but do not make it a common practice. Next, we have Tinna, which is associated with the holly tree, meaning expertise, analysis, protection, transformation, and talent or skill. It may feel as if you are secretly being sabotaged, or there is an underhanded plot against you, either in your relationships, at work, spiritually, or all of them combined, and you may be feeling a lot of anger. Now is not the time for revenge. Instead, choose harmony, wit, and bravery to find solutions to the current contention. Also symbolic of your creative talents and skills. This can be spiritually, personally, or at work. Either an indicator you need to push through any creative barriers you're struggling with, or encouragement to continue along this artistic path. Wood from a holly tree was highly regarded by warriors and protectors and frequently used to make weapons. Holly was often planted around a home to keep out evil spirits. Representative of the Holly King, who marks the beginning and climax of the winter solstice. Place beneath your doormat to protect your home. Use when trying to adapt to new conditions or circumstances, or when you need a new outlook. Helpful when needing creative inspiration. Reversed can mean an attack, hardship, or aggression. Choose your battles wisely. Now may be a time to retreat and regroup. Do not be embarrassed and trust your instinct. You may need time to adjust to new situations or spiritual transformations. Alternatively, you may be avoiding a creative skill you would ultimately flourish in. This is a sign to pursue and learn more. Next, we have Cole, which is representative of the hazel tree, meaning enlightenment, knowledge, creative inspiration, daydreaming, rituals, proficiency, and practicality. An ogham of great wisdom and considered quite lucky. It was believed the source of knowledge came directly from nature, and by using all 5 senses, you would comprehend this wisdom. The hazel tree was considered so sacred that one would receive the death penalty for chopping it down. An Irish myth references Finn McCool, an apprentice who gained extraordinary knowledge from eating a salmon that fed on 9 hazelnuts from the well of wisdom. Helpful to use with meditation when searching for creative inspiration, insight, or deep knowledge. Carve or wood burn into hazelwood to use as a wishing wand to help manifest intentions and dreams. If reversed, can represent ignorance, insensitivity, or creative barriers. Focus on growing and development. You lack education. If life has been disappointing you recently, now is a good time to change your perspective and find the simple joys in everyday moments. Next we have Quert or Kurt, which represents the apple tree, meaning physical and mental wellness, rest, wholeness, spiritual harmony, and choices. These positive outcomes typically take place after suffering, pain, or sadness, representative of a profound connection to the universe. A reminder that you matter just the way you are. There's no need to prove yourself through productivity or work. It's okay to rest, slow down, and be still. Alternatively associated with having to make choices, hardship, mental illness, or self-destructive behaviors. Linked to positive magical outcomes, and Avalon, an island where wild apple trees, grapevines, and grains grew naturally and was considered paradise. Those who lived on this island had very long lives. Apples are often associated with love, and when an apple is cut in half, the seeds form a star and are sometimes used in divination. Helpful to use with meditation when pursuing a spiritual awakening, prosperity, or healing. Wonderful to use when giving healing and positive energies to a loved one. Used to bind negative behaviors or intentions and focus them away from you or shield yourself. Reversed can indicate despair, ailments, and overall unhappy energy. Your body or mind may be forcing you to rest because you have not made it a priority. You may also be suffering from depression, anxiety, or other mental issues that are causing you extraordinary sadness. Please find a professional that can offer you the best advice and who can help you recover. Next we have Muin, which is associated with the vine. It means goals are coming to fruition, persuasion, celebration, relaxing, harvesting, and play. Muin wonderfully symbolizes the metaphor of reaping what we've sown. Now is a time for pleasure, to rest and enjoy the fruits of your labor. Vine produces grapes, which creates wine that allows us to let go of self-conscious thoughts, allowing for creative inspiration, a relaxed, altered consciousness, and revealing truths. It also represents deceit, fallacies, or denial of facts. Remember to continuously pursue the origin or source of any information you receive. Proceed with caution before acting on any facts or advice you've been given. Vine is connected with the green man and Bacchus, the god of wine, and is often depicted with vine leaves around his head or as a crown. Inscription and magical uses. Helpful when seeking creative inspiration, inner growth, seeking truth, spiritual wisdom, or for help with communication. If reversed, it's a sign of extreme indulgence and serves as a reminder that outstanding achievements also require self-discipline. Watch for indications of dishonesty, misrepresentation, or tall tales. Next we have Gert, which represents ivy, meaning spirals, tenaciousness, wildness, development, abundance, gratitude, rest, and reawakening. The beautiful spiraling of ivy is symbolic of our soul's search for meaning, our DNA, and the galaxies in the universe above. The Celts viewed spirals as representative of life and spirit, showing how we can also grow and expand. Ivy also represents a form of tenacity and an ability to flourish in conditions where many plants cannot. Use your unique skills to overcome seemingly impossible obstacles as you pursue your goals and dreams. Even if growth or progress seems slow, remain persistent. However, remember how important it is to rest so you can have the spunky energy to stay relentless. When growing on or near a home, ivy is believed to protect loved ones inside. Ivy is no longer used in modern-day medicine, but was previously believed to cure whooping cough, ulcers, and eliminate hangovers. Often represented with Dionysus and considered sacred to Osiris. Helpful to use when needing strength, encouraging support, or eliminating toxic individuals from your life. Place in your home for harmony and creativity, or in your sacred space for abundance. If reversed, it means arduous, imposing, aggressive, and challenging. Forces outside of you have been infiltrating and inhibiting your growth. Do not linger, or it may consume you. Sever your connections and focus your time and energy where it may be more productive. Next we have Nieto, which is associated with broom. The accurate meaning for Nieto is broom. However, it's often represented as reed due to Robert Graves' interpretation in his book White Goddess. This interpretation was later expanded on by Liz and Colin Murray in the Celtic Tree Oracle, but was not the original meaning. Nieto represents health, vitality, strength, wounding, healers, and herbal remedies. A broom is a bush with bright yellow flowers and slender branches and was often used to create besoms. Besoms cleansed and removed unwanted or harmful energy from the home or sacred space. Nieto was also symbolic of prioritizing physical and mental wellness by living a balanced and healthy lifestyle. Used to make the shaft of broom handles by witches, broom was used to cleanse a space of negativity and apply natural remedies or hallucinogenic ointments, hence the term flying. The cream was absorbed through her sexual organs and quickly into her bloodstream. Useful for all healing, meditations, ointments, remedies, or gifts to those recovering from illness. Perfect for incorporating into candles, oils, soaps, or lotions. Add to moon water you intend to consume and assist with health or physical well-being. If reversed, represents sickness, chronic illness, pain, suffering, need to purge or cleanse. Can indicate a lack of wellness in your life, physically, mentally, or spiritually. Next we have Stref, which is associated with blackthorn, meaning adversity, omens, secrecy, and is sometimes known as the tree of the dead due to its connection with spirits and the underworld. This thorny tree shrub is symbolic of the sword, arrow, and spear. Now is a time to focus on the root of a problem instead of its effects. Confront challenges head on and do your best not to become overwhelmed by the difficulties that lie before you. Brace for the unexpected. Life may be taking an unforeseen turn. It can be an excellent time to keep knowledge and information to yourself until the path ahead is more apparent. Blackthorn has developed a bad reputation over the years since it thrives in winter when everything else seems to be dying. It is often associated with Cailleach, Dark Mother, or Crone, and the Morrigan. Blackthorn was often used to create a shillelagh, which is an Irish walking stick, and was often the weapon of choice for Bataracht, an Irish stick-fighting martial arts. Use this ogham wisely. It can help to develop the courage and fortitude you need to overcome the unpredictable challenges headed your way. Change is headed your way, helpful for use in keeping your mindset upbeat and instilling hope. Reversed represents transitions, changes, and death. Stref reversed is a sign of caution. Things may be falling apart in your life right now so that they can come together more positively later. Next we have Riss, whose tree association is elder, meaning shame, jealousy, obsession, remorse, vengeance, and karma. Often refers to the color red, symbolizing anger, blushing from embarrassment, or passion. Look inside yourself and do some serious self-reflection or shadow work. You may need to redirect the path you've been on to one that better aligns with your goals. Now is a time for growth, development, and maturity. Find a way to gain some self-control and release your anger. Let go of vengeful thoughts. A popular superstition conveyed that witches were able to turn themselves into an elder. Elder was believed to keep cows in milk and was often planted near barns. Elder flowers and berries have long been used for medicinal and healing purposes. Useful when seeking wisdom and knowledge. Beneficial in shadow work and for self-transformation. If reversed, this is a sign you've not been doing self-reflection work. You may be justifying your actions instead of reflecting on them, or just in complete denial. Do not dwell on the actions or lives of others. You do not know their whole story. The grass always seems to be greener on the other side, but take the time to tend to your own garden. Next we have Ogham. The tree association is fir or pine, meaning joy, excitement, euphoria, creation, pregnancy, and spiritual awakenings. You may be on the edge of something new and exhilarating, but remain patient. Fir trees are known for their height and allow for a beautiful vantage point that can easily change your mindset. Ogham will enable you to rise above your immediate surroundings for a more precise vision when you view things from above. Pine was often burned around the winter solstice to entice the sun back and encourage the longer, warmer days to return. It is also burned during childbirth to protect the mother and child. Helpful when seeking spiritual awareness, intuition, understanding, spiritual growth, and connection with the universe. Useful when using the law of attraction and attracting a positive mindset. Giant fir and pine trees are some of the oldest beings in the forest and work well when connecting with your ancestors. Also wonderful to use in conjunction with children, to ease labor pains, or during each stage of pregnancy. If reversed, can represent fear, panic, or anxiety. These feelings may be paralyzing you or causing intense sadness and suffering. Do your best to analyze these emotions. Start to process why you're experiencing them and how you can heal from them. Next we have Un, whose tree association is gorse, which means spiritual paths, lust, arousal, spiritual guidance, and movement. Un represents the health and vitality of intimacy and sexuality. Do not feel bashful about what you desire and allow yourself to experience pleasure fully. Un can also represent forward motion or movement similar to a wagon wheel. It can be indicative that you need to examine and deepen your connection with your spiritual journey or change your life's direction. Movement can also indicate an actual trip or moving to a new home. Gorse was believed to be protective obstructions when planted around the home and would keep fairy folk, away. It was also used in a famous saying, "When gorse is at a bloom, kissing is at a season." Helpful for safe journeys or travel, physical movement issues like health or physical therapy, or to remove obstacles from your path. If reversed, can symbolize complications, peril, unhealthy behaviors, and danger. You may be putting yourself in jeopardy by taking too many chances. Do your best to slow down and find the right path for you. Next we have Ur, whose tree association is heather, meaning relationships, connection, fairies, good luck, death, graveyards, magic, and memories of loved ones who have passed. Heather represents sexual connections, but differs from gorse because it indicates a deep relationship between partners. Ur means moving beyond desire alone and into respect and partnership. Ur is often connected to the Fae, magical intentions, and spiritual development. The representation of death represents the cycle of life and our deep connection to the earth. Heather's sweet flowers were often used to make ale, and Scottish warriors often wore heather into battle for good luck. Heather was used when creating besoms to create bristles or for other magical tools. Ur can be effective for removing unwanted negativity in your life or cord cutting. Create your own magical besom bristles using heather to cleanse a space. Wonderful when working with the earth element and the natural land around you. It can be used for terminal loved ones to help them move peacefully from this world to the next. If reversed, can symbolize deception, deceit, disagreements, and other issues. You may be experiencing conflict in your relationship. Slow down and work together to solve issues, or it may split you apart. Next we have Eddad, whose tree association is aspen, meaning brave, defeating your fears, perception, and divination. Representing the visual quaking of an aspen tree, Eddad symbolizes fear and how acknowledging your worries can empower you and help you to overcome them. Remember that aspen is quite solid but flexible. Remember this when working to overcome challenges. Eddad can also represent enlightenment and connection to the universe through an altered state of consciousness, whether that's through meditation, trance, dreams, intoxication, etc. But make sure you slow down and differentiate between hallucination and factual truth. Please note I am in no way endorsing or encouraging you to consume alcohol or drugs to achieve this state. Aspen was often used to create shields, and magical intentions were placed in them to protect and prevent danger. Helpful when doing divination, shadow work, or when trying to communicate with the universe or spirit world. Use around Samhain to release negative emotions and prepare for the new year. If reversed, can symbolize addiction, terror, or the feeling of defeat. Now may be a good time to gain some perspective on your current situation. You may be letting your worries gain control over your actions and mindset. Can also warn against the dangers of overusing addictive substances. And last we have Eddad, whose tree association is the yew tree, meaning ancestry, history, aging, dying, transitions, thoughts, and memory. Eddad can represent the wisdom that comes from elders and the strength we now have from ancestors who came before us. Aging is not to be feared, but celebrated. Not everyone is lucky enough to have gray hairs, and it's truly something to be grateful for. Eddad is also a fantastic representation of the natural cycle and connects back to the first Ogham, Be, representing joyful beginnings. The yew tree is deeply connected to the Druids and their history. It was considered sacred, and many built their temples around them. Helpful when trying to connect with ancestors, meditation, or when contemplating life and the natural cycle. If reversed, can symbolize physical death, sadness, and mourning. Death is inevitable for us all. However, it's essential to reflect on the cycle of our life as well as others. In the natural cycle of life, with endings come new beginnings. I hope that you found that information helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me down below. Lots of love to you all. And remember, as always, stay peculiar.